probably heard of dopamine, and most of the people listening have probably heard of dopamine. Dopamine is like our pleasure hormone. It's like a hormone that gets released when we are about to experience something that we enjoy doing, and it really motivates us to do things. But the interesting thing about dopamine is it's more of an anticipatory hormone that's produced. So we actually produce most of our dopamine in anticipation for something, rather than when we actually get it, we're producing less dopamine, right? Have you ever been so excited for something and the actual buildup is more excited than when you actually get it? You're like almost a little disappointed, because now it's like, oh, okay, now it's over with. But just think about how much of a lethal combination that is. And this is why so many people don't go after their dreams and make up excuses, is because, okay, if we actually get more dopamine in the anticipation of something, meaning like we physically feel better just anticipating something great, then and our psychology wants us to just stay comfortable and just, it's actually, not only are you going to feel better, but your subconscious programming is actually going to prefer it if you just live in the possibility of having that thing, rather than actually, again, everyone wants to go to heaven, no one's willing to die, right? It's just so much easier to just stay comfortable and live in the possibility of it, right?
It's crazy, man, that you say this. I've been reading a book. It's called The Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David.
Okay.
And it's basically it's about mastering the art of business strategy. And he says there's one part that really got me, and it was like, do you notice going to the gym and you see the same guys, but they never get fit? Mm-hmm. They're always there. They're always in the gym, but they seem to just stay in the same shape. Yeah. And it just reminds me of this concept, Matt. Yeah. Because it's like you anticipate, like you going to the gym every single day, working on your body. You obviously have a goal. You obviously have a target. But it's almost like you're anticipating that you're going to become fit, or you're going to be this person. Every single day or every single week you go and you're doing the same things over and over again, thinking and anticipating that, okay, if I'm here, this is going to get me closer to my aesthetic or fitness goals. But years go by and you're still in the same shape.
Yeah. And think about how, like, it starts to make sense when we look at examples like these, because think about actually how vulnerable and scary and fearful it can be to actually get the body that you want. Because think about how much more responsibility that comes with, right? If you just stay in the like not so good shape or whatever, then you have an excuse why you don't have your dream girl. Then you have an excuse on why you don't, perform the way you do, because you don't have the energy to go out and, move up the ladder in your corporate job. Like, once we achieve the body, now we have no excuses, right? We should be getting a lot of the things that we want in life, but it's actually just so much more comfortable to just live in the realm of like thinking like, oh, I'm going to get that dream body one day. And when I do, I'm going to get that girl. Yeah. And I'm going to, it's just, again, man, it's like, really scary to our psychology to actually get all of the things we've ever wanted, because that is when we're ultimately vulnerable and we have everything to lose.
It's such a profound, for me anyway, the way you explain it, it really hits home. And I think especially a lot of people that may potentially be listening to this, they will probably understand this, because imagine all the goal, like your goal list right now. How long has that list been the same? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like how long has that list not changed? Why? Yeah. What are the things, like your income, for example? Take that for example. Again, I'm going to quote this book because I've been reading it. Patrick Bet-David runs a company, and he asked some of his employees. He said, "Who here wants a raise?" So everyone obviously raised their hand. They want to raise consciously. Yeah. And then he was like, "Who here?" What am I gonna say? He says, he's like, "Okay, write down how much money you want to make. Like, what would be the ideal number? Could be whatever you want." So he's like, "Don't tell me. Just write it down or keep it in your head." He's like, "Okay, what are you making right now? And how long have you been making the same type of money? And so again, he's just making his employees think about this. It's like, why that gap between what you're making and what you want to make? Why is that gap there? So why hasn't it changed over the 6, 8, 10, 12 years? He says the market decides our value. The market decides our value. Yeah. And the reason you're not making the amount of money you want to make is because it correlates A, with the market, but B, how hard you're willing to work and improve at what you're doing. Yeah. So it comes down, he's like, I don't mind giving my employees as much money as they want to make, but how far are they willing to go for that? Yeah. How far are they willing to change themselves? Work 80 hours a week, put in those extra time to build their brand, build the business, do things that are uncomfortable, uncertain. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Go against the pattern and the programming that they've run off of for their entire lives.
And yet in your mind, you consciously say, yes, I deserve a raise. Of
course.
Yes, I want a raise. I want a raise. I want to be.
I'm worthy of one.
I'm worthy. But yet the reality speaks differently.
And this is why people have such a hard time understanding, because we think that consciously it's the only thing that we run off of, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually the subconscious programming that we run off of, right? It's actually that, the thinking and the thoughts, the ideas and the emotions that we're actually unaware of. That is the program that we run off of. So, it's really hard sometimes for people to grasp, because they think, no, that's not me. I would never block myself like that. And it's like, well, yeah, consciously, that's what you are. You are consciousness. But again, the hardware that we run off of is different. Now, I want to actually touch on, and you mentioned money and it kind of made me think of it. I want to touch on, there is another aspect to this of why we might fear success, why we might block ourselves from, and this is really common with money, relationships, and so forth and so on. So remember how I talked about the subconscious programming that we have? We develop the subconscious program, that hardware that we run off of like a computer. We develop that when we're a child. Obviously, when we get born into this world, it's a clean slate. We don't know what the hell's going on, right? Now, primarily from 0 to 6 years old is when you are formulating belief systems and thought patterns about how the world works and who you are as a person, right? We're taking all of the evidence from our environment and our experiences, and we're taking these belief systems, they're going into our subconscious mind so that we then have some context that our subconscious mind can run off of, right? That's how the hardware gets created. So all of the environment and experiences is just, again, it's just formulating that subconscious mind. 0 to 6 years old primarily. And then it continues to be developed from 6 years old to 30 years old, right? And then that's when in research is shown to kind of level off a little bit, okay? Now, remember how I said we develop belief systems about how the world works and who, so like the bear, right? The bear example, that's one of the things in how the world works. Bears are scary. So then we run off that program. We also develop belief systems about who we are, right? So we create what's called the self-identity. And within that self-identity is a sense of our worthiness, right? We decide in our subconscious mind whether or not we're worthy of success, love, care, attention, happiness, wealth. And well, who do you think we look to create our sense of worthiness? Well, just the evidence around us. Now, it's primarily from our caretakers. Now, this is why it's a classic textbook example of if your dad leaves, let's say, and there's some abandonment, or if your parents get divorced or whatever. Well, think about what that might do to the belief systems you're creating in your self-identity. Think about how that's going to make you view yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. To support this channel, go to patreon.com/Cassius to get more videos like this and on topics such as filmmaking, creativity, and business.